You can be a coach, you can be a dad, or you can be a player. But what you learn in theater, you know, you can use every day.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about theater and diesel.
Theater and diesel.
Our two passions. So once again, hi, I'm Zach. If you don't know, this is Billy Williams, our resident diesel technician, and we take calls here. We talk to people about their diesels. You know, it's that time of year. We're starting to see more tractor calls coming through. You know, getting into spring, people got to get out there in the field.
This is the time, and with the cost of new equipment out there, a lot of old stuff's being drug out of the barn.
Yeah, makes more sense to fix what you got than go out and buy something new. So we recently had a conversation with Herb, and he was working with a fuel pump that had a leak. It was a VT903 Cummins, and it was on a versatile tractor, had four-wheel drive, and I think he said he was in the Valley. I guess that means California.
I didn't catch where he was from. He didn't sound like he was from California. Super nice guy, but I didn't detect that accent. But I can tell you,
I guess there's valleys elsewhere. Yeah,
the versatile tractor that he's working with, I have worked on before.
Mm-hmm.
They are a workhorse, but man, they can be a bear to when the job he's talking about. Getting the pump off is going to be 80% of the job.
Right. That's going to be the hassle.
Exactly.
So he called in, and he was just he's still in that phase where he's sort of workshopping his options. Right. You know, he needs this tractor to run, obviously. He's got, you know, whatever he's got going on out there. And, you know, it's, like I said, it's the time of year. You got to get your tractor in the field. You can't be laid up because of a bad fuel pump. So he said it was leaking really bad, the fuel, and he wanted to go over options. You recommended changing out the cover on the pump. Is that correct?
Based on what he was saying, he's talking about a crack in the cover, which is not uncommon on the drive end. It's an aluminum cover, and it, you know, it has the torque of the drive.
Right.
So it's and tractors, you know, they tend to get a lot of abuse that you in a truck version you wouldn't get. I mean, you can drive 500,000 miles and never hit an object in the road. You can't cross a field without a stump popping up and hitting. Right. You know, so
the wear and tear happens a lot faster.
It does, and I suspect that somewhere down the line, you know, something happened to the pump and it cracked, and this leak has just, you know, gotten progressively worse.
Yep. So let's take a look at the call with Herb.
Hello.
Herb, please.
Speaking.
Hey, my name's Billy Williams. I work in the tech department of Diesel Care.
Yes, sir.
And one of my salesmen asked me to give you a call. They said you had some questions about a VT903 Cummins.
Yep. I've got a plate on the fuel pump. The back fuel plate where it comes out of the drive is cracked, eroded, whatever. The more I have cleaned on it, I kind of think it's maybe the result of an old repair. But it appears to be the only thing. Tori said you folks had I don't know whether it was in-house or if you shipped it out in terms of rebuilding it. You did have one of the part numbers in stock, but it was a little pricey until I tried to attempt a repair myself, I thought.
Well,
but I just kind of wanted to see what my options were or what you guys thought about it.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions just so I make sure that I'm got my head wrapped around this. Now, are you talking about the front cover where the drive of the pump is, or are you talking about on the rear where the gear pump is?
I'm talking about where the governors are, where it's driven off of where it comes up off of the flywheel.
Okay.
At the rear of the engine.
All right. Yeah, we would consider that like the front cover.
Okay.
And other than the fuel leak, are you having any other performance issues, or is it just the
no?
leak? Okay.
Just runs like a champ, but I don't want to burn it down. It's in a 4-wheel drive tractor.
Right.
And it's up there in the middle of the valley, and it was just pouring fuel out.
Yeah, definitely not a good situation there. Changing that cover is not that difficult. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. There are two, seals that are in there, and there's a drive shaft bearing that essentially looks like a ball bearing that holds it rigidly in place. But if you've got, just a standard hydraulic press to press that shaft out, it's pretty simple repair.
Okay.
And
are they? Go ahead.
Well, and just to kind of put it in numbers here, if we were to talk about someone's mechanical experience, 0 being the worst and 10 being a master mechanic, this is about a 3. I mean, you gotta, you have to be clean about the process, and you have to have some basic mechanical abilities. But it's nothing. There's no timing issues or anything like that.
Okay. Well, the timing was what concerned me. I did find, or the young man that works for us found something on YouTube where what's exposed on the inside there is not involved with the timing. It's just the counterweights for the governor.
Exactly. There's no real timing involved in this process that you're talking about. There is no real timing involved. It's more about cleanliness than anything.
Okay. Well,
it's just getting. You should spend probably more time cleaning your workspace than you do on the repair, because you just don't want to get any grit or grime or anything in there. But other than that, it's if you the new covers, they come. I'm trying to remember if they come with the seals pressed in, and I want to say no. I want to say so. You would need to order probably the 2 seals. You could reuse your shaft bearing if you wanted to, or you could order that. The cover does come with the gasket, so you're talking 3 or 4 parts. I'm sure they, if haven't quoted you already, they can quote you on it. And I can send you a breakdown of a standard 903. They're pretty much all the same, unless you've got what's called a variable speed governor. But I can send you a breakdown for it. And like I said, I could walk you through the process, but it's pretty standard, cut and dry.
Okay. Well, if you've got a picture, because I've got the engine manuals and shop manuals and a versatile tractor,
Mm-hmm.
but even the Cummins engine manual leaves a little to be desired as far as I was concerned, or their parts manual in terms of trying to track things down for the blow up. But if you had a blow up of it, that would big advantage to me.
Yeah, I believe I do. Now I've got an engine serial number here. Looks like that they got from you, so I can use that to track down the correct breakdown. Would you prefer me to text it to you? And just so you're aware, all my calls are recorded, so you don't need to give me your telephone number or anything. I've got all that, obviously. But
well, either that or you could do it that way, or you could do it on email. Whatever's easiest on your side.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, this is my cell number that I'm calling you from. If you could text me your email address, and if you could include in there, just because I don't want to get you confused with somebody else, just say VT903 breakdown, and I'll get that to you. I'll have to go to our library thing, but so it may take me a minute, but I can have it in your inbox by the end of the day. And, and then, and here's the thing. If if you get involved in it and God forbid something happen and the weights fall out or, and you get, it's beyond that, it's no big deal. Just put it all in a box, send it to me. I can take care of it from there.
Okay. Well, that was a part of the initial call was I don't think I need anything other than this plate, but I certainly didn't want to send anything in if you didn't have the parts to repair it yourself. And with these old engines, I've had, at least going through Cummins, problems in the past finding parts.
Well, that's where I have a little bit of a benefit because I've got a third of a warehouse dedicated to old pump cores. I've probably got 20 or 30 VT903s with standard governors, variable speed. I when I can't buy a part, usually I can find a good used one. But like I said, it's if you get too far down the road, you can stop at any point and call and just say, "Hey, I'm going to send this thing in and let you guys take care of it, and we can take care of it from there."
Okay. Well, that's good, and particularly if I can get a picture. But I will. I've already got a picture on my phone of the repair that I need to do or somebody needs to do, and I'll include that when I send you my email.
All right, sir. I'll be looking forward to it, and I'll get that off to you. And like I said, if you have any other questions, just give me a call. You have my number.
Okay. I appreciate it, sir.
All right. Take care now. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So interesting conversation with him. You were able to give him some guidance about how he can approach, getting this fuel leak repaired on his tractor. I thought it was interesting how you broke it down for him, like, in terms of like 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult thing you could do. This job is maybe like a 3, Yeah, it's sometimes difficult to put into numbers, but there are certain jobs that I would never in good conscience recommend to someone to try to do unless they were a professional.
And if they're a professional, they're not calling me.
Right. That's a good point.
So, if you're calling for advice, we're going to reach a level when we get to the 6, 7, 8s and above.
Yeah. We
get to that level. I'm not going to recommend that you do those repairs.
And that's fair. Like, you don't want to send someone out into the, you can do a lot of damage. I think that's what's the phrase? Like, you're smart enough to be dangerous,
Yeah. And the thing is this repair can be, it can be done without sending a pump in. Now we extended him the same option we extend to anyone. If you get too far into a repair and it's just not working out, pack it all up, send it to us, Now, I will say, because, we get customers, they'll break off 7 of the 8 bolts, and then they want to send it to us. Well, guess what? That's going to cost more money.
That's going to be a costly repair. Yeah.
But if it's a situation where you just kind of took it apart and you can't quite figure out how to get back together, but you didn't break anything.
Right. You just realize you're in over your head.
It's probably not going to make a dime's worth of difference to send it to us. We can affect the repair and send it back to you.
Yeah. You talked about making a difference. I thought it was another interesting point that you mentioned to him. You emphasized having a clean workspace because you don't want to get grit and grime in the inner workings of that pump. That's going to create a whole mess of other problems. And I was just curious, you talk about those jobs like in the 3 to 1 range that most people, they could attempt this job and probably pull it off if they follow basic common sense steps. And it raised the question for me, like if I'm not a mechanical guy, but if I was going to, attempt to do something like this, what would be your like top 3 tips to say like, hey, here's what you need to do before you get your hands dirty?
Well, let me tell you the biggest mistake that people make that I deal with.
Sure.
Is, and we'll use her as an example. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is they'll take the pump, they take it apart to
right,
but they don't have their parts there. So now you run the risk. Now you've got a pump that's open and exposed. There's chances of getting debris in there, chances of parts being missed. You need to be able to take that pump apart, do whatever necessary cleaning there is, and put it all back together in one day, if possible.
Yeah. So prepare.
Have your parts there. The first thing you want to do is you want to get a parts breakdown. Now, we have one of the most expansive digital libraries in the country. And I say that with a certain amount of pride.
You've amassed it over the last 30 years.
We have, well, and I inherited it from a guy who had been doing it 25 years before me.
Oh my God. Wow.
So, but we have digitized a big portion of this. We have engine manuals going back to the 50s and 60s. So if you have, if you're thinking about doing a repair, reach out to us and say, hey, do you have a breakdown? Do you have an engine manual? Mm-hmm. We don't sell this stuff. It's just, we give it away.
It's information.
And so the first thing to do is get that information. After you review it and you say, yeah, I think I can do the repair, go ahead and get the parts.
Right.
Get them in, and then you want just a good, clean workspace. It doesn't have to be lab quality, but you can't have 3-day-old coffee sitting next to the pump that you're taking apart and grit and
dirt
and all
and grime.
Yeah, you just need to clean your work area. I recommend one of these big catch-all metal pans that
like
you
a
use in baking, big baking tray. Get it nice and clean, because you're going to have fuel that's going to come out. You don't want that getting all over your workbench and everything. Use that as your workspace, and don't let any parts get outside of that.
Right, keep it all contained.
Keep it all cleaned on that baking sheet.
Is miss a part or something comes up
missing. Yeah, the worst thing a mechanic can ever find is that extra part, and you can't remember where it went.
Right.
Those things will haunt you forever.
Okay, so you're doing your research beforehand, getting your parts, cleaning your workspace, and
then you need to have the proper tooling. For example, a simple torque wrench. That's a tool that you need to have when you're working on this type product. Basic hand tools. You need to have access to shop air. You're probably going to need either a bench, a wire wheel, not necessarily the grinder part, but you need ways to clean certain parts. If you have some surface rust on something, you want to be able to polish that and shine it.
Yeah.
Just the basic stuff that you would have in any workshop.
Right.
And if you find that you don't have any of that, or you don't have shop air, you don't have a wire wheel, those type things, then you need to stop and think, okay, do I need to do this repair?
Yeah. Or is it better served to take it to someone who has the equipment, has the knowledge, has the parts? No shame in that.
Well, in this instance, I think Herb will be able to handle this repair. We are going to follow up today, send him a breakdown of a 903. We're going to get on the same page. And if he decides he wants to order the parts, I'll put him in touch with the salesman. And again, we're always here as a backup. All he's got to do is just give us a call. And if he does get too deep into it, he can just throw it in a box and send it to us. We can fix it from there.
Excellent. Well, that's all for this week. If you have questions about your diesel or you need tech breakdowns, reach out to us at sales@dieselcare.net. You can learn more about our company at www.dieselcare.store. And as always, you can reach us at 1-800-961-9290. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Yes, I'm built out and bound to go. I'm going to leave here running, because walking is most too slow.
All right, back to one.